Hi everybody. So we have a mirror on our dining room ceiling. Thought it might be kind of fun to start off the podcast so you could see a bird's eye view. This may end up being an outtake. I might have to edit it out. I don't know. I'm just gonna go with it. So yeah, there's a mirror on the ceiling. And people always are so befuddled when they come into our house and they see that. There was this one girl that came to our small group that we hosted a couple years ago. She came to our house for months and she saw the mirror and she thought it was the upstairs. Like that's, because it does kind of look like the upstairs. It took her months to realize it was a mirror. Isn't that funny? Anyhow, I am your hostess, Sarah of this is the LoveSockWool Podcast because that is my alter ego on the knitting internets, Ravelry, and Instagram. You can find me as LoveSockWool because I love to knit socks. And I'm kind of assuming that if you're watching this, that you might like to knit socks too. But if you don't, that's completely fine. I don't judge. I am happy for all peoples to be watching. Sock knitters and non-sock knitters alike. How are you doing? Have you been busy? Are you stressed? I feel like I've been a little stressed, but I can't really explain why. It's probably just me, and I get stressed out very easily, so take that with a grain of salt. So much has been happening since last we spoke. We went camping as an entire family 2 weekends ago, which was crazy and wild. And that, if you want me to tell you about that camping trip, that's going to be a whole nother podcast. It'll be the camping podcast because I can't even begin to plumb the depths of that weekend. It was only the hottest weekend we've had all year, and we went camping in it. But there were many horrible moments, and there were lots of fun, happy memories that were made too, and hysterical moments. So if it fits into the podcast, I'll share some of those anecdotes. We'll see how it goes, and we'll see how much time my camera lets me record. So we'll see. So yes, I have been knitting socks. I have been knitting other things. I've been crocheting, and I think I'll just jump right into some finished objects that I have finished. Firstly, I finally have a finished pair of socks. And here they are. These are the Deborah Norville Pink Sugar socks. Just plain vanilla, 64 stitches, and I knit a gray heel. And this is also Deborah Norville, and I got them both these colorways at Joann's, to my Happy Neighborhood Joann's store. And I really enjoyed knitting these. They were very pleasant to knit. It's like a merino bamboo nylon blend sock yarn. I'm so curious to see how these wash and wear, and I will report back to you. But I have high hopes. I think they will be a good sturdy pair of socks, and lots of people who have knit with this sock yarn messaged me to tell me how much they liked it, so that's good. I'm happy about that. Other finished socks? Okay, so the next two socks that I finished, they're not pairs, they're just first socks. These are the socks that I took with me camping. So a couple weeks, last time I talked to you, I told you I was crazy for tweed sock yarn, and I'm still kind of crazy for tweed sock yarn. So I had cast on this fun sock, which is some blue, let's see, the cuff is this blue Regia denim color that I had in my stash, and then this is a brown, like dark chocolate Zitron trekking extra large tweed. Because apparently size matters in the sock yarn world. It's not just extra large, it's extra large sock yarn. So I really like it. It's very sturdy. It's not necessarily the softest sock yarn, but you can just tell it's gonna wear really well, so I'm pleased with that. And then this red is also Zitron trekking extra large. large tweed. And then I did a red toe in the same. And I do have the second one going right here. So I got to this point and just kind of was like, okay, I'm gonna put that aside for a little bit because I worked on it like all weekend that we went camping. And then the other sock I took with us is the Regia Arnie and Carlos. And this is the Fall Night colorway, and I threw in a white heel. And this is just Knit Picks Stroll white that I had in my stash, which I really like. And I didn't take the white with me when we went camping because I had thought about doing a white toe and then I didn't have it with me, so I just kept going. And I do have the second sock going. I just have the cuff almost done. I'm like right here, but I don't have it with me. So I can't prove that I cast on the second sock, but I did, I promise. So this sock knit up really fast. I was impressed with myself that I finished it that quickly. But then, as soon as I got back home, I cast on other things, and these have been cast aside. So I'll get back to it eventually. And then, oh, that's what I got distracted when I got home. For some reason, I can't remember why, but I got completely obsessed with Drops Fobble again. And Marshall, oh, I know what happened. Okay, so Marshall, my son, who's 8, I was taking pictures of this sock and posting a project page for it on Ravelry, amazingly, because I never post anything on Ravelry anymore. I'm terrible at making project pages for my whips, but anyway, I did. And he was watching me, upload the pictures and everything, and he's like, Mommy, I want you to make me a hat with that yarn. I don't want socks this year. I want a hat. And so I'm like, okay. But I don't have any, I'm not going to have enough. And I don't know if I can find this colorway online anymore because this is the colorway that always sells out online. So I don't know that I could, well, maybe I could still find it. I don't know. But anyway, I had some Drops Fobble in my stash that, is a self-patterning type sock yarn. So I quick whipped him out a hat. And this is kind of a blend of 2 different patterns. It's the sock head and a drops pattern. And let me see if I have that pattern with me. Is it this one? It is. It is pattern number 122-33 by Drops. And of course, this is it's a free pattern, and there's no picture. But basically, it's a fingering weight hat, like a beanie, more of a beanie style. But, so basically, I used the stitch count cast on from the Drops pattern to cast on, I think it was 128 stitches. But then I knit 4 inches of ribbing per the sock head hat, and then I knit the length that the Drops pattern said, and then I used the decreases from the Drops pattern, because like the sock head has you doing decreases on one round, and then you knit a couple rounds and then do more decreases, whereas this one is you decrease every other round until I think you decrease down to like between 8 and 12 stitches, and I had 12 stitches, so I just put 6 stitches on 2 needles and Kitchenered them together so it would have like a nice, smooth, flat top. It would look cute with a pom-pom or something. So anyway, he can wear it with a rolled up brim and keep his ears nice and warm since we live in Minnesota, and eventually the winter is going to come, even though it is like 85 degrees out right now. So he doesn't need this quite yet, but I'm happy that it's done and it's ready for when it really does start to get chilly. And once he puts this on his head, he probably won't take it off until next April, because that's what he does. He'll probably even sleep in it. I have to remind him to change his clothes, or he'll just keep going to bed and getting up in the morning wearing the exact same clothes, because he's a boy. And that's what boys do, apparently. Oh my goodness. Okay, I think that was all the finished objects. And kind of whips, but I do have another sock. So I've been working on my pencil socks by the Beautiful Yarn Enabler on Etsy. So here's my eraser, and then there's the metal part. And I showed you last time I was knitting like a ribbed pair, but I ripped it back to the cuff, and I decided to just knit plain vanilla because I was just enjoying that better. Hold on, let me just make sure my stitches are not about to fall off. So I've made it to the heel flap, so I started a nice slip stitch heel flap, and we're getting there. So that's good. I'm enjoying my pencil socks, and some of you guys are probably already done with yours. Some of you people are just speedy knitters with your pencil socks. It's so exciting. So yeah, so this is for the back to school socks cal that is currently going on in the LoveSockWool Podcast group. And please come and join if you would like to. It's a friendly, welcoming group, and yeah, just jump right in and say hi and cast on some socks. Show us what you're knitting. Oh, I was gonna say, for this hat, this is how much I had left over. And this took one 50-gram ball of drop squabble, and it's color number 162. I think it's called Blue Sea. So I have another skein of it, or a ball of it, whatever. So I could probably still make a pair of socks with like a contrast heel and toe. But because I knit on this monogamously for 3 days in a row, so I'm a little tired of it. So I'll probably have to take a break from the drop squabble. Okay, more whips. Yes, there are more whips. I cast on Molly's beautiful windswept shawl. Molly of a Homespun House. This is her latest shawl pattern that she has so lovingly designed. So I'm on the textured section, and I've just been picking this up and knitting a row or two here and there. I'm not trying to crank it out real fast or anything. And this is in Barocco Ultra Alpaca Light, which is a sport weight, and it's Caribbean mix, and I got it from Jimmy Bean's Wool, and I have 4 hanks of it, which I hope will be enough to complete the whole shawl, but I'm a little concerned I could potentially run out because there's a picot bind off for this shawl, and I think that tends to eat a lot of yarn, so it's possible I may have to not do the picot bind off in order to not have to order more yarn, because I don't really want to have to order another skein, but we'll see. We'll see how I'm doing once I get there. But it's a lovely pattern, very nice textured stitch pattern here on the beginning portion of the shawl, and it feels really nice in this yarn. And this is on using US 7s. These are some old Knit Picks Harmonies. I like them. They feel nice. Wooden needles feel nice in your hands. They're not too slippy. Okay, and then I did go ahead and cast on another Molly pattern. These are her foraging mittens pattern. Let me see if I can stick this on my hand so you can see. I have been wanting to knit these mittens for quite a while, but I think I just couldn't decide on a pattern. I mean, not a pattern, a yarn for it. And so I just never got around to casting them on. So this is Query Fiber in the Shamrocks and Rainbows colorway. And it's a tweed. I don't know if you can see some of the tweedy bits. So yeah, I got the thumb, waist yarn for the thumb. And now I just have to, knit straight up to here. So yeah, it's a lovely pattern. But yeah, I feel so slow. I feel like everything I'm knitting very slowly these days, but that's okay. Here's the yarn. It's really pretty. I love it. I had thought I wanted to make a pair of or make my St. Patrick's Day socks for 2016 with this, but then I thought, no, I'll do mittens instead. So that is that. I think that's it for the knitting. I had a crazy fit of fancy and decided I wanted to jump the bandwagon and cast on with crochet what am I trying to say? Granny square sock blanket. A Scrappy sock granny square blanket. Is that how you say it? I think that's how you say it. And I was so inspired by Disa of Disa Craftwork Podcast to do this because she, I think, is working on her second or third Scrappy sock yarn granny square blanket. And it's always fun to see her little squares that she shows on her podcast. This one is some old opal. I'm not even sure. I think it's a 100 Wasser colorway, but I don't remember which one. And I only have like a tiny bit of it left. So there's one. And this is another crafty girl in Mr. Baseman. Hedgehog Fibers Monet. Octopus Garden by Woolen Vine Yarns in the Blitz. I have one sock finished of this. I got to cast on the second one. And Woolen Vine Yarns Water Sprites in the Blitz. You can see the sparkle there. I just finished a pair of socks with that yarn. And then this is the first square I cast on. It's a little bit wonky. This is Knit Pick Stroll Golden Glow, which is now discontinued. And this one is Misty Alpaca Royal Blue, and I made Ben a pair of ribbed socks. Love this yarn. It's so soft, and the colors are so rich and beautiful. This is some koi goo that I used. Oh, I have the shawl right here. I knit Susan B. Anderson's Prairie Ridge shawl. It's this yarn right there. That one. And this is some Space Cadet yarn creation, or Space Cadet Creations yarn from a mini skein club. I did 1 month of her mini skein club. And then this is a mini from Vegan Jilly. Hi Jilly! She sent me these a while back, and I think it's hot knit yarns, like Haute, like haute couture, but just with yarn. And I don't know what the colorway is, but I love this sock base. It was delightful to crochet with. And would be to knit with as well. This is Deborah Norville's Serenity Sock Weight in pink sugar, no less. And Woolen Vine Yarns Dirty on Purpose, which I knit a sockhead hat that I showed recently. And then this is another little mini from Jilly, Vegan Jilly on Instagram and Ravelry. I don't know if she knew what she probably knew what the base was, but I don't know if she knew the name. Maybe she did. Anyway, I don't have the little label anymore, but this was delightful. It's kind of like a Tiffany blue colorway. So I think I've got like 13 of these cute little guys done, and I just love it. So Disa put, I think if I'm remembering correctly, she got a bunch of opal sock yarn, I think in a gray color, and put borders of gray around all of her squares, and then was connecting them all with gray. Is that what you're doing, Disa? Is that your previous one? I can't remember. But so I'm trying to decide, what should I do to connect all these beautiful little squares? And I'm leaning towards white. I think I will do a white border, but I don't have a lot of white sock yarn. And I was looking at like opal sock yarn online, but I think the cheapest I could find was still like $15 a ball. And I know Disa bought like 3, 100-gram balls of opal for her blanket, and that'll be like $45 just for the border. I don't want to spend that much money. At least in America, that's what it would cost. It might be cheaper in Sweden, but there's Drops Fable, my friends, and they have a white sock yarn, and it's only $2.90. So I might could use Drops Bobble, which leads me to stash enhancement. Because as I said, I had like a fit of being obsessed with Drops Bobble. And look, here's some white. I had not started the granny squares yet. I just got a skein of white thinking, oh, I'll just try some other colors of sock yarn and, you know, squeak out a pair of socks as long as I use contrasting heels and toes. So I could steal this white ball of sock yarn and use it for my borders and see how that goes. And you get 224 yards in a ball of drops. So I could try that. We'll see. But the other colorways I got, this one is called Lavender Mix. It's also color number 904. It's really pretty. I like it. And then this one is called Heather Mix, and it's very autumnal, I think. I'm excited to knit these up. It's color 674. Some people I've seen on Ravelry have taken 2 balls of Drops Bobble and they knit 2 rounds with one color and then knit 2 rounds with the other color, and it makes a really fun looking, you know, colorful pair of socks. So that is an option as well. So, and also this is from NordicMart.com, which is where my drug dealer for Drops Bobble. They do a thing kind of like Jimmy Bean's Wool, where they have a reward system. So every time you place an order, you accrue points, and then you can use those points as a discount or a coupon code off your next order. So I was able to do that. I didn't know they sent me an email about it. I was like, oh, I have 500 points in there. So I had a $5 coupon code that I could use on my next order. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so talking about crochet. What else is happening? What else have I worked on? I have had very little sewing time. There are some bags behind me. I've got 3 that I did manage to sew up. I have not listed them in Etsy yet because I need to make the bottle caps and I have to find the correct fabric for these bags so that I can make the best bottle cap. So this is, I did like a quilty one, some quilty ones, which are really fun and scrappy. And I have like a good sturdy gray fabric on the inside. So I just have 3, so this is kind of a bigger one. And then I've got 2 smaller ones. I love this one. It's those kind of 1930s retro fabrics. And all of them, all 3 have like this nice sturdy kind of decorator weight gray fabric on the inside. So I just had to make the bottle caps. I've been so busy. There's been too much coming and goings to get that done. And I have other bags cut out and ready to sew up, but my sewing time has been sadly curtailed with other commitments and busyness of life and taking care of my family, which has to come first. So anyway, one of these days I will get bags back up in the Etsy shop. I'm trying to think what else to chitter chatter about. We went camping. All 5 of us as a family. That was wild and crazy. First of all, it was way too hot. It was extremely hot and sticky. And we went south of here to Lanesboro area, and Ben had found reservations at a campground for 3 nights. I think 2 nights might be my limit, but we managed to make it through 3 nights in the sweltering heat. So we had a good time. There were some tense moments of panic and frustration, especially when it was time to go to bed. And the tent that we have set up, that Ben set up, he said, "That's a 4-person tent." it's fine. It's going to be great. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, that is not a 4-person tent. It's a 2-person tent. So on paper, the tent may be for 4 people, but Ben and me and Marshall were crammed in there suffocating. So yeah, that is an argument for a later time. And then Priscilla and Juliet were in a 1-person tent, all comfy cozy in right next to us. So we had 2 tents and we got through it. It was a sanctifying experience, but we got through it. And we had fun. We took, my friend Alyssa let us borrow her hobo pie makers, and we made apple hobo pies over the campfire. That was really fun. It's where you take, so they're like these square cast iron skillet things that you hold over, they're on poles and you hold them over the fire, and you put buttered bread, butter side down, in the hobo pie maker, and then you blop apple pie filling on top of it, and then put another piece of bread with butter on top, and you're grilling it over the flames. And so that was delicious. We enjoyed that, and Priscilla made s'mores a lot. I had high hopes of making like a campfire chili, but then our stove, like we had a gas stove, like it was like a 2-burner gas stove with this little, gas tank that you bring with you. That didn't work. So Ben had brought a backup stove. But it was, it's like a Bunsen burner, for heaven's sake. I mean, like, there's no way I was going to cook chili on that thing. So we ended up roasting hot dogs. We used the hobo pie makers to roast potatoes from our garden that we brought with us. So that turned out pretty good. We also took our bikes with us and biked from our campsite through these beautiful bike trails to Lanesboro, and ate lunch in that town. And there was a real sweet Amish lady selling quilts and baskets and pot holders and jam, like in the market square. So it was really neat to see her. And we poked around in little boutiques and shops, and then Saturday, I think it started to rain Saturday. I feel like Saturday was kind of miserable. Was it Saturday that it rained, or was it Sunday? I can't remember. It's kind of all of a blur now. But Sunday was supposed to be really hot and sticky, and hanging around a campground when it's hot and sticky, like, it just wasn't so much fun. So Ben suggested, why don't we just hop in the car? We'll drive around and we'll do our own self-guided Amish tour, and we'll look for Amish farms, and we'll just do our own little tour. So we did that, and that ended up being really fun. And I got a lot of knitting done. That's when I think did I finish this? No, I got a lot of this knit, and I think I just about finished this sock on that drive, which ended up being hysterical because we were driving around and Ben is telling the kids, he's like, you've got to look for the farms that don't have the electricity lines going to them, and that they have the windmills, because those are the Amish farms, because the Amish, they don't believe in electricity. And so we're just, chitter-chattering away looking for the farms, and in the back seat Marshall kept muttering, like, I don't get why they don't believe in electricity. I don't get it. Like, he just kept saying that over and over again. And it didn't, like, dawn on me that he was confused, because we kept saying that, the Amish don't believe in using electricity. And Marshall's like, you can see the power lines. They're right there. How can they not believe in electricity? The power lines are right there. And so Priscilla finally set him straight. She's like, Marshall, they believe in electricity. They believe it exists. They just don't believe in using it. And for some reason, that just cracked me up. I was laughing so hard, I was crying. And probably because I was delirious from like 2 nights of not sleeping very well on the ground in a tent in the heat. But it just was so funny that he was confused. He thought the Amish, they don't believe in electricity. It's like they do believe that it exists. They just don't use it. They're old-fashioned. They farm the way they did, centuries ago. So we made some good family memories, and we also went to Niagara, the Niagara Cave. There's a cave that you can tour. It's enormous and underground. Crazy. So we all went and did that. It was like an hour-long tour. So that was really interesting, and it was, of course, very cool down there. It was like 50 degrees compared to like 80 something above. So it was a nice activity to do to cool off. And then we came home on Monday. We got up that morning, packed up our stuff, and I think we drove back to Lanesboro and found this kind of mom and pop diner place and had biscuits and sausage gravy, and then drove home. And we survived the camping weekend. So, yeah. And then the kids went back to school, and Labor Day was over, and all was well, and we all lived to tell about it. So I think that's all I've got to chitter-chatter about, and hope you are doing well, and keep knitting your socks, and God bless you all. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.